grid?
I'm in charge of strategy and innovation. So we are working on new technologies in relation to smart grids and super grids. On one hand, I'm managing R&D programs, and on the other hand, I'm working on identifying partners, doing acquisition into that new business environment. Smart grids, in our own definition, deals with the technologies related to control rooms of grids, to automation of grids, and to power electronics of grids. So we have identified it through the angle of technologies rather than, I would say, business domains.
According to you, what are the greatest challenge to build smart grid? Is it human, political, technological?
There are various ones. One is overall conservative of our industry towards new technology, and we can understand that because rolling out new technologies immediately implied large scale in the energy business, hence the need for prototyping it first. And on the other hand, it's also about building a suitable regulatory framework for making these new technologies efficient in the way we invest into them. In other words, the main companies benefiting from smart grids are the grid utilities, into better optimizing their investment in hard capex, and sometimes the investors are more the consumer side, so we need to rebalance and define market rules so that this value can flow from grid operators down to consumers. So overall, if we look at the main drivers for smart grids, they are mostly around introducing new ways of using energy. Electrical vehicles is an interesting one, or on the other side, new way of producing energy, renewables, and as an example. A lot of these new usage are intermittent, and so it raises really new challenge in terms of analyzing transient phenomena into the grid. So I would say dynamic simulation can bring value in terms of improving the network planning and avoiding to overinvest in terms of grid capacity on one hand, but also trying to use some of these algorithms to be able to improve the controls of the grids into more advanced controls, more coordination of power electronics component, especially into the smart grid system. I would say the benefits will be in being able to really size the system according to the real need on one hand, and not oversize because we don't know exactly the transient phenomena. And on the other side, being able to advance the accuracy of the controls, which in return will ultimately result into more renewable into a given grid capacity, or not too much grid investment to cope with the renewable expansion, as an example.
Right now, what is your return of experience on OPAL-RT solutions?
So we are using a lot of dynamic solutions and components of solutions into our automation and control room technologies. OPAL-RT software is one of these components, and we have really seen acceleration of some of our concepts through the capability of being able to simulate it from a concept to a prototype in a faster way. So we are hoping that this simulation capacity is going to improve in the future, and maybe the technology is also being able to scale up so that it is more efficient to use it also into the operational environment. Historically, simulation has been used more into labs. In the future, if we want to deliver as part of real-time operation environment, then the cost of it must still to continue to go down.
Do you think we could use real-time simulation, especially into smart grid control for predictive analysis?
I think it's an element which is interesting investigating. So here in that environment, even on the theoretical side, I feel we can do it. The question is always, what is the benefit which this advanced feature brings to, I would say, a more business as usual scenario, and especially in consideration of the cost it takes to build the model, and being able to deploy it in an efficient way. So we are all engineers and we all like perfect solution. The question is whether it is worth to put the engineering intensity to reach that perfect solution.
Okay, yeah, I believe so. Okay, thank you for your time and thank you very much for your answer.
Thank you.